Quantumania stuff, AntMan Quantumania post-credit scenes. See what everything always has to say about this and check this out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires, and hopefully you've had a chance to see Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania yet. If you haven't, go and see the film this weekend. Come back and see us. We'll still be here, but major spoiler warning is we're going to be breaking down both post-credit scenes, what happened during them, how they tie to the film, but more importantly, how they are major setup for Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. There are a ton of variants of Kang introduced during the end of these post-credit scenes, 4 of which are more important than the others, but as we see, really, it's Kangs all the way down. We're going to break them down in full. I'm going to explain the Easter eggs, the versions we're seeing here, and what this all means for the future of the multiverse saga. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to occasional industry insider reports and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment on this video. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway, which in fact, we'll be announcing a brand new PS5 winner at the end of this video. So if you want to be entered to win for the next one, again, all you got to do, hit that sub button, leave a comment, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so the first post-credit scene shows us 3 more versions of Kang we've yet to be introduced to before it ramps into what looks like tens of thousands of versions of Kang. The first person to speak is the Rama Tut version and says, "Are you sure he's dead?" A different version replies, "I wouldn't have called you if he wasn't." And that version is supposedly the Scarlet Centurion, although his armor is purple like the rest of them, and usually in the comics, Scarlet Centurion's armor has been scarlet, also heavily implies the existence of Dr. Doom. I'm not quite sold that that's whose version that is. Immortus then interrupts them, the third version of Kang, and says they did, referring to the Avengers killing that version of Kang in the quantum realm. Although it was just Ant-Man, he's referring to the collective. They're starting to touch the multiverse, and if we let them, they'll take everything. It then shows them looking upon what is the broken timeline in the wake of what happened with He Who Remains. Immortus then says, "Let us stop wasting time. We're late." The Scarlet Centurion version, who we'll still just keep assuming that's who that is, says, "How many of us did you call?" And Immortus says, "All of us." It then shows us a whole coliseum of Kangs numbering in what looks like the tens of thousands, some of them teleporting in with the same exact device that we see Reed Richards of the 838 Illuminati use when he enters that scene. Now, this shot right here in the post-credit scene is seemingly taken directly from the comics Avengers number 267 in 1963, which was the first appearance of the Council of Kangs. Then several issues later, in 292, we would meet the full Council of Kangs. Now, we actually know why the Council of Kangs exists, what its purpose is, and we're going to talk about that in just a second, because believe it or not, it revolves around a version of Kang. But the 3 that we're introduced to also have ties to what's coming in the future. First of all, the Rama Tut version is a future version of Nathaniel Richards, who decides he's bored and wants to go back in time and rule over Egypt. There was already a confirmed Easter egg for him in the first season of Moon Knight, and he's even crossed over with Khonshu in this comic book storyline. There was also an Easter egg for him in Loki season 1 when we see a Sphinx with the nose. That's what he used to travel back in time. Yep, you can't make this stuff up. Comics are silly. He's also infatuated with the Fantastic Four. I think they introduce him here as we may see him as the villain in the future for the Fantastic Four film. The Scarlet Centurion's version is one that meets up with Dr. Doom, inspiring his armor. Again, I'm not 100% sure that that's the version we're seeing, but he is a notable version and could have ties to the introduction of Dr. Doom down the road. And the third version, Immortus, is the one that could be the reason this is all going on in the first place. Now, if you watched my videos leading up to Ant-Man, I wrongly assumed that the version we were being introduced to during Quantumania was Kang Prime, as I called him. And there is a Kang Prime in the comics. He wants to go on to be Immortus, and in order to do that, he needs to defeat all the other versions of Kang. So ultimately, this Council of Kangs was really just Kang Prime's idea to get all of the other versions of Kang in one place in order to eliminate them, and eventually he does so using Alioth. Mortis has even ended up on the side of the Avengers in the past, or certain versions of Kang have ended up helping the Avengers against Kang Prime. And I think there's a good chance we already know how the entire multiverse saga plays out. During Loki season 1, when they explain the multiverse of war, both at the beginning of the series and at the end, as explained by He Who Remains, it's inevitable that Kangs are going to war against each other. And if you use one Kang as an ally, it's basically picking the lesser of two evils. Basically, another He Who Remains. That's right, after the next 3 years, countless sacrifices, multiple Avengers films, we may be right back where we started in a full circle with another He Who Remains, uniting everything back into a sacred timeline. And we've seen that exact storyline play out over several decades in the comics. So don't say that they wouldn't do it. Now, ultimately, the real point of Secret Wars, getting past the multiverse saga, should be to defeat all Kangs. And obviously, one Kang Prime, one ultimate version of Kang, yet what they'll be going up against in the end. I think it's also pretty clear here now with this introduction, and as late as they did at the Council of Kings, that we are still a ways off Doctor Doom, which really has me thinking they're going to attempt to do a Secret Wars storyline without a Doom, which has me bummed for real. Maybe you guys don't agree, but let me know down in the comments. Now, the second post-credit scene is a direct lead-in for Loki Season 2, probably an exact scene from the upcoming season. Basically, they'll do an overlap where some of the footage is shared. One will lead right into another. Now, wrongly, I saw this described as taking place during the 70s, but it's pretty clear from the clothes that they're wearing, and especially their hats, that this is taking place much earlier in the 20th century. Think maybe 1910, 1920. And from the comics, this version that we're introduced to of Kang, Victor Timely, was all the way back in 1901. Now, this is really an extremely meta thing that Marvel did. Marvel Comics, in their original iteration, 2 iterations before they became Marvel, was actually called Timely. So Victor Timely is a reference to that and their origins being one of the origins of Kang in an original storyline where he's obviously inventing all this technology way ahead of its time, even creating robot versions of himself. And we see him here in this post-credit scene with Loki looking terrified, sitting next to Mobius as they watch Victor Timely on stage introduce one of his inventions. Now, the reason this is important, other than a major setup for Loki Season 2, and also what I think is setting up the rest of the multiverse saga to feature Kangs as the villains. That's why I think Fantastic Four may be going up against Rama Tut, and other films may feature different versions as well, is that Victor Timely is in fact the Kang Prime I was referring to earlier, at least in major parts of the storyline in the comics, the one Kang Prime. So not only are we introduced to the Council of Kangs, these thousands of versions, which is astonishing, showing us that the multiverse is in the thousands, way past just the 838 implied by the Baxter Foundation during Multiverse of Madness, but literally in the thousands. We also know that Victor Timely, the actual Kang Prime, is there, already in the flesh. Don't have to wonder who the Kang Prime of the MCU is. It's going to be this guy. This is the one. I know that seems weird. We were introduced to a ton of seemingly powerful versions. Here's this silly dude with glasses and a mustache. That's the Kang Prime? Yep, that's the Kang Prime, or at least I'm calling it now until something changes. And look, ultimately, guys, Marvel Studios has never played it directly like the comics, and shoot, if they're going to do Secret Wars without Doctor Doom, they are definitely changing things. We've even heard rumors that Kang may be a version of the Beyonder, which would be totally different from the comics. But you guys let me know all your thoughts down below. First and foremost, how'd you like the movie? I know the initial reviews were not good, but I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's one of my favorite Marvel films of recent times, but you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. Also, were you prepared for this post-credit scene? I actually couldn't believe it. It was pretty astonishing to me. It also makes me feel like, how are we ever going to beat this guy? And I can't wait to see how they end up doing it in the MCU. Let me know all your thoughts down below quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go and announce a brand new winner for the next PS5. Okay, so quick reminder before we announce this winner, if you want to be entered to win for our next one, which will coincide with the release of Guardians of the Galaxy in just a couple of months, or for any of the other giveaways we do here on the channel, all the same rules will always apply. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button and be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Our current winner for the Ant-Man PlayStation giveaway is Anthony LaGreca for this comment here. I hope Keanu gets Ghost Rider. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. Either email me on my business email, it's under the About section on the channel, or DM me on Instagram at IamFighters. Either way, I'll go ahead and get you verified and get the PlayStation right out to you guys, and it's that simple. Again, all you gotta do, be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. My name is Michael Redman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at IamFighters. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, with original music under the name All Fires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.
Please subscribe, like this video. Have a great day, and see you guys. Bye.